Jesus more.
My dear brothers and sisters, we always want to have some kind of security in everything, and we want to be assured of some kind of food security, some financial security. We want to be really secured before we can feel safe. So safety depends on how secure am I with everything around me. That can pose a danger to our lives, our spiritual life, our lives as Christians, when we all wants to have this security all the time. There's a story that is in the Bible that follows just the story of the defeat of Jericho. If you remember the story of when the people of Israel had just entered the promised land, and then they fought these people of Jericho in this famous battle where they did not have to fight but just go around the walls of Jericho for 7 days, and on the seventh day they went around 7 times, and then they started blowing the horns, and then the walls of Jericho started collapsing. There is something just after that story, that is in Joshua chapter 6, where we find the story of the battle with the people of Jericho. But then in chapter 7, there is a strange story there, very interesting story, but not many people know about this story. That when the people of Jericho, when the people of Israel went into that battle, God laid a ban and said, "Do not touch any gold or silver or bronze. You must bring all these treasures into the treasury of the church, of the temple, the treasury of the temple. Nobody should touch any of those things." There was a man called Achan. He was an Israelite. So after the battle, he saw all this gold and silver and all these things. He wanted some security for himself. So he picked some of them and hid it, and said, "This is very little compared to everything that we have, so God is not going to notice that." And then he went back and he buried it in his tent as if nothing had happened. He wanted some security for himself. If you find some time, just read chapter 7 of Joshua and you read that story. It's very interesting. And after that, the people of Israel went into battle with a very little nation called Ai. And they were thinking that they don't really need to send a lot of soldiers into this battle because this was a very small nation compared to Jericho that they had defeated. But then, unfortunately for them, without knowing it, they were defeated terribly. And Joshua came crying out to God and said, "What has happened? Why have you left us? Why were you not with us?" And God said, "There is somebody who did something wrong. There's something that has happened that has gone wrong." Anyway, the long and short of the story is that Achan came to confess that he had taken something from the ban, and he kept it for himself. That is the danger, trying to get some kind of security, trying to get something for ourselves. And at times it's like, okay, I want to secure myself, I want to keep myself safe, and then once I'm really secure, then the service of God is much easier. So it's easier to serve God when I feel I am secured. This is what happens in the gospel of today. He said, go to the commandments. He asked Jesus, "What can I do to be saved?" Do the commandments, do everything. Do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not kill, obey your parents, and all these things. He said, "I've been doing this right from my youth." Now when Jesus touched that point of security, he realized there was something more than just doing. Remember, they called it possession, not just wealth. The gospel says, because he was a man of great possession, meaning we don't just acquire those things and then they become just wealth or a blessing, but they can actually possess us. It can become a source of possession. And this security, I said, it could become dangerous for our spiritual life, because what it says is that I do not really trust God. I think God is not just enough. I need something else to complete what God cannot do. And that's why Jesus said to him, sell all your possessions, come and follow me. Not wealth, not money. Sell all the things that possess you, not what you possess even. What is in control of you, what has become the source of security for you. Because God is enough. God is enough. I mean, it is very difficult. It's easier to say. I mean, I struggle with that myself. All of us struggle with that. We have to lock our doors before we go out. We have to have a savings account because we want some security. You know, we have to be assured of something for the future. And in a sense, that is at times that, especially when when our life becomes centered on that, on the things that we have and all that, is just telling God, God, you are not enough. And that is why that can become so dangerous for our spiritual life. And it's not a bad thing. It's a blessing actually to have things. It's a blessing to be blessed with wealth, to be blessed with all the things that we have. But it's not a blessing when we become possessed by the things that we have. When it becomes the center of everything. When God becomes secondary. And that is why it was very difficult for this man to follow Jesus, because it meant he had to leave the things that had possessed him, the things that he thought he was possessing, but they were now in control of him. And that is why we are called again and reminded, especially just before Lent, which is a time of trying to remember the things that we have to let go and let God in. We have to let go so that God can be let in. We must be able to ask God for those things that have become the central part of our lives, that have pushed God to the background and made God secondary in our lives. And once we are able to surrender to God, even when we still have things, but we make God the priority, then God takes possession of us. And once we are possessed by God, then truly we become children of God. Let us therefore continue to ask God for the grace to make Him the center of our lives in everything that we say, whatever thing we do, and that He may continuously lead us in every path of our lives as we continue to journey towards Him.
Kiss us, mother, kiss your children. Bring God's blessings from above. With your mantle blue enfold us in your gentle holy love. See the darkness dissipating, hear the trump